Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Should You Play, where I'm going to show you some spoiler-free gameplay and give you my thoughts after playing new games for a few hours, as well as highlighting and checking out at least one of the PlayStation Plus games for each month. In this video, I'm playing one of the July 2024 PlayStation Plus games, Among Us, the online social deduction game that took the gaming community by storm during the 2019 pandemic. Among Us came out in 2018 to a fairly mediocre reception, but was given a second life when many Twitch and YouTube streamers picked it up in 2020, and surprisingly, I've never actually played it before making this video. The concept is simple. You're on a map with a crew of other players, and at least one of you is an imposter. If you're a regular crewmate, your objective is to go around the map completing tasks before the imposter can kill everyone. If you're one of the imposters, your goal is to sabotage the area and kill the other players while blending in and trying to avoid being caught. And when appropriate, crewmates can call for a meeting in which the group can discuss who they think the imposter is. There are currently two different game modes to choose from, Classic and Hide and Seek, but they're both essentially the same at their core: avoid death. I completely understand why this game became popular during the lockdown. In a time when people didn't have a lot of face-to-face interaction, it was a social game that you could drop in and out of for fairly quick matches that didn't involve a steep learning curve. And it didn't hurt that at its most expensive point, it only cost $5. Personally, I wouldn't call Among Us a great game though. It'd be fair to call it a decent game, but there's one really big issue that I want to get into right away. The biggest issue by far is the fact that there's no built-in voice chat for you to use to communicate with the other players. If you want to talk with the other crewmates in your group, you're limited to text-based communication exclusively. The game does provide a fairly sophisticated quick menu so you can speedily call out another player or ask a simple question, but without the ability to respond to others in a timely manner, I found that herd mentality takes over before you're even able to type out a message defending yourself, which is a bit disappointing in a game where teamwork and discussion are both so important. I can't tell you how many times I played a match where the first message is something like, "It was blue," and without any further discussion, everyone votes for blue, only to see a message that they were not the imposter. Sometimes you'll get lucky with a group that actually tries to discuss, but more often than not, it'll devolve into a mob mentality. Yes, you could join an Among Us Discord server, or if you're playing with people you know, you could just call them up, but it's not the same as using an in-game system since the majority of players are grouping up with strangers. I've seen people online defending the lack of a voice chat by saying that you might join a game where one person has a crying baby in the background and another is just screaming their every thought into the microphone. But in most games I've played where voice chat is important, there's usually been the option to mute individual players, so I don't know if I personally subscribe to that way of thinking. Aside from that, I highly recommend playing the practice mode before jumping into an actual game. Even if you're playing with more experienced players, character levels don't actually matter because higher level players aren't getting any in-game bonuses for playing more than you. But the one thing they do have is more experience in knowing what the tasks actually encompass, because the game doesn't make some of them very obvious. And if you're standing there trying to figure out how to complete a task for a minute or two, you're a prime target for the imposter to corner. These tasks are also a double-edged sword. Even though they're not all explained in detail, most of them are fairly easy to figure out once you've done them once or twice. But once you do figure them out, they're not very challenging or exciting to do. And because the game is so simple in design, I don't actually know if I encountered any bugs or glitches, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that there weren't any, since my gameplay didn't seem to be affected by anything in a negative way. After you do a couple of practice rounds though, that's when I think you're good to jump into an actual game and start customizing your character to your liking. If you're into character customization, you'll have plenty of options to make your character as unique as you like, and you can always buy more outfits, colors, or pets with in-game currency from just playing the game. At any rate, if you know a group of people who play this and you can communicate with them more easily on an external voice or video call, it'd probably be a more fun experience than jumping into a waiting room full of strangers like I had to. And since it's free for PlayStation Plus users right now, there's no harm in downloading it and checking it out for yourself. I might not have had a glowing review for this game, but Among Us isn't a bad game. I just think that, at the very least, the game could use some tweaks to raise it to the level that many people already consider it to be at, and then it'd be something that I could maybe see myself playing on a semi-regular basis. As always though, this is just my opinion. If you've already been searching for the imposters in your crew for a while now, let me know in the comments what you thought of Among Us. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.